Hi, and welcome along to AFTV News Daily. Hope you guys are all feeling good this evening. It's been a beautiful, beautiful day over here in the UK. And I am joined tonight by a very special guest. We got Drifty. How you doing, Drifty? Big Liverpool fan?
What's up, bro? What's up? Thanks for having me, man.
Well, I'm good, man. How's it been going, man? How's the lockdown been treating you?
If it weren't for Netflix, I'd have gone insane by now, but I swear down.
Trust me, man. You know what? Netflix, their figures, their numbers must be up, man. Because even me, and I wouldn't class myself as a person who watches TV prolifically. I only really watch TV mainly for sport, but I've been watching so much Netflix, man. You know what I mean? Trust me, I'm running out of things to watch on it.
Yeah, but I'm watching the thing. You know, when you got your list, all the things you saved, I'm cleaning through that list, boy.
Trust me, man. I mean, when's this ever going to end? We don't know, but you know, especially when it's a hot day like today. You know, I mean, the sun was shining today. It was a beautiful day, really, really hot, and you're stuck indoors. It's weird.
Yesterday was a nice day as well, man. You know what I mean? I've got an excuse because I've got a dog, so I just take the dog out, but that's about it, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What they say, one walk a day?
Well, me and the missus do a walk each, so they can't really say nothing, you know what I mean?
Do you see people, because you know what, I went out to the shops a while ago, yeah? And a guy, I was doing my shopping, I was actually on the phone to my brother, and I was picking up a couple of bits. And a guy was saying to me, yo, Robbie, man, wanted to have a chat with you about Arsenal. I go, what? I go, bro, social distancing, Bridget. What are you on about? You know what I mean, how have you found it? You find that people are sticking to it?
When I'm out with a dog, people are, no, I tell a lie. Where I am, people are being a little bit slack with it because I'm seeing kids all playing together. There's like a playground, there's a football like pen kind of near where I am, and kids are still in there kicking ball around, and I'm just thinking, boy, this is parents who are just like, oh, I'm sick of you, man. Get out of the house, innit? But what if that kid comes back in with it? Like, you know what I mean? And to be fair, in the shops, I nearly got into a couple arguments because I've only been shopped twice in the last month. Like, I'm taking it serious, you know what I mean? And a couple of people are coming near me and I'm like, yo. You know what I mean? Like, no, it's real. Like, and I'm not a rude person, do you know what I mean? But I found myself badding up a few people. Like, raw, like, you know what I mean? You better back up, like, this is real, you know what I'm saying? Like, you see a side of me you didn't know existed because I'm not dying over this, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Back up, bro. Back up.
Bro. Is that 2 meters? No, is that 2 meters? No, that's not 2 meters. That's real, bro, you know what I'm saying? It's real, man.
Trust me, man, trust me. Well, listen, let's talk some football. I don't know if you saw this today where, first of all, they're talking about that if they do get the season started again, that they'd want to see every player get tested first. They were saying, you know, first of all, obviously, they want to make sure that the NHS and all those guys get their tests. But, you know, there were suggestions that all footballers would, you know, they'd need to be tested before they could start playing again. What do you make of that?
I mean, as we were saying off air, and I was telling you about this UFC thing where there's going to be like a private island where all the fighters who were going to have fights during this time will have to live on this island and they won't be able to have any contact with anyone outside the island. Something like that for fighters is all right. You've just got your camp, there's you, and then that's it. Footballers, there's so many players that have so much family and so much other stuff involved that could you really test them and then keep them safe afterwards? That's the thing that would, like, they might pass the test today, but then what about next week or the week after? So you'd have to put them in some form of isolation for a prolonged period of time. And could they do it like UFC? Not a private island, that's too extreme, but maybe there's a hotel or something where every Premier League player has got to stay. There's no one who's allowed in there who hasn't been tested or isn't part of the team. And then maybe, I don't know, get like a set of medical staff that's only going to be at the games and then maybe play the games one after the other and use the same medical staff. I don't know, because I'm just thinking you can do a test now, but what about next week? Unless they're all in the confined space, you might get it next week. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't even know how they're going to run that, to be honest.
How are we going to get this season completed, Drifty? Because the thing is about it, right, is that we're now April, right? Starting to get, what's today's the 10th of April. In no time we'll be at the end of April. Then we're into May. The season will have finished the second week in May. It doesn't look. Hearing that the government are looking to possibly extend this lockdown until May, right? At least.
Yeah.
Right. And then, then after that is, even when they release the lockdown, as we've seen in China, they don't just say, right, that's it, everyone out, you can just run around and that. They do it slowly. And you just said there, how would you get players? We might, this season getting voided thing, and I know you're a Liverpool fan, right? And I know you don't want to hear this, right? But this is starting to look more and more possible. Even the authorities have been kind of talking about it. The possibilities of, if it's not done by, say, July, just void it and start again next season.
Madness. People are going to think that as Liverpool fans, we're only saying this because we won the league. But
hold on, wait. You ain't won it yet.
Come on.
You ain't won the league yet. You won the league.
All right.
Never won it yet.
All right. Put it like this, yeah? Let me take my Liverpool hat off for a second. Think about Sheffield United, they're in a Europa League place. Think about Leicester City, they're in a Champions League place. Think about all the teams who have done really well in Europe, like Wolves, for example. Do you know what I mean? Like you think about all these clubs who this season it's been a very good season, maybe better than what they could ever achieve in another season if you used to start again. Leicester probably won't get top 4 if you start again. Sheffield United probably won't be in a Europa League position if you start again. So even without my Liverpool hat on, where is the morality in voiding the season when, all right, people are going to say, Aston Villa will go down. It's not really fair because they could have got out of it, and Norwich maybe could have got out of it. And is it Brighton or the other team that are in there, I think, isn't it? I can't remember. Whoever the other team is. I can't remember. Yeah, whoever the other team is. All right, fair enough. You could have that argument. Yeah, especially for Aston Villa, who I think it's only goal difference to West Ham while they're in there. Few teams haven't played as many games, whatever. But you're in that position because you were shit. Let's be real. Yeah, you've got time to get out of it, but you're in that position because you haven't been good this season. And because 75% of the league has been played, I don't know if that rule is real that was put in place, but even if it isn't, 75% of the season is the majority of the season. It's the main part of the season. So why not just end it now? End it as it is. Voiding it makes the least sense out of everything, except, and I'm being honest, to screw Liverpool. Because just call it how it is. No, Robbie, just call it how it is. Because if you call it how it is, we've all earned. Agree with that. All right, let's be honest, yeah. Where you are now could change between, what was it, maybe 8 or 9 games for most teams, right, that they had left. So we all know in football, 4 minutes in a football match or 8 minutes in a football match can change everything, never mind 8 games. I get that. But we are all where we are because we've earned that position so far. So if the season was to be called as it is, at least you've earned the position you're in. And then some teams will be upset. But it like Leicester have earned to be in 3rd place. They've earned it. There's no doubt about it.
Drifty, this situation is nobody's fault in football. This situation that we're in is an unprecedented situation. This situation, nobody wants it. Nobody wants this situation. Well, maybe if you're a Norwich fan, but even a Norwich fan, nobody wants this situation right now. It's a horrible situation. People are dying. It's a terrible, terrible situation that we're in. It's an unbelievable situation where, as we're saying earlier, there's no sport around the world right now because of what's happened. It is an unprecedented situation. You can't then just start making up the rules to suit Liverpool, right?
No. Apparently there's a rule about it. Apparently there's a rule, bruv, that says for whatever reason, if 75% of the season is completed, then I don't know if it says there's a vote or if it just happens, but apparently it's in the Premier League book. It's in the book.
I ain't heard this rule, man.
All right, let me give you an example.
If the season's voided, that means that's it. We were unable to complete the season, right? So you can't send nobody down, in my opinion, because you are a team down there could have got out of it. We've seen it many a times. There's been teams that I think even Leicester one time, innit? Remember Leicester were looking doomed.
Yeah.
That was before they won the league, and they got out of it, right? So you can get out of those situations sometimes, right? So the teams at the bottom, they're going to sue because they're going to be like, oh, we could have got out of this. What are you sending us down for? Right? So you can't send teams down. You can't say to, how do you say to, say, for instance, Manchester United at the moment we're in 5th, that they wouldn't have went on to get into the top 4? Yeah, I mean, you can't. So you just have to just say, right, we just lock it down and we start again next year. It's not fair on Liverpool. It really isn't fair because you guys have been brilliant. You've had a great season. You have been the best team this season. But unfortunately, if you can't complete the season, you can't just hand it out and say, here, Liverpool, you 75% completed. You won the league.
But like I said, bro,
would you really want the league like that, where it's been given to you with a little asterisk beside it? Every time you see a Man United fan, he'll be going, you didn't really win it.
You know what? I thought about that when this first happened, yeah? And I thought, what would it feel like to not win the league properly? And at first I was like, it's not going to feel good. You know what I mean? It'll ruin it. But then I've had a lot of time to think about it, as we all know. All we've been doing is just sitting at home now. So I've had a lot of time to think about it. And Twitter banter doesn't bother me. We're the champions by a means that nobody else can even, like, you know what I mean? Say it was last season when we had that race with City and it went down to the last day. And I remember, I think it was up until the Everton game, we had a 1-point lead over them. And then we drew that Everton game. And then after that Everton draw, they took the lead and then it was 1 point. And then they went on, it stayed 1 point to the end. If City had been given the title with 8 games to go in a scenario like that, or say this happened before the Everton game and then we was 2 points ahead of them and then we won the league by 2 points and it was given out, then I would say there's an asterisk over it. Absolutely no way you could ever say you'd won the league. This is a bit of a, you know what I mean? Like, you got given that basically. And I'll probably hold my hands up and I'll be like, you know what, they've got a point. We didn't really win the league, did we? Do you know what I mean? We're 25 points clear of. We can actually lose 7 games and still win the league. There is absolutely no way. Here's what's mad, yeah? Here's what's mad. We could have actually been champions without even kicking a ball because they had you and then they had Burnley before we played again. And Burnley's a tough game and Arsenal's a tough game. There is every possibility we would even have been champions without even playing another football match.
True.
There's no way anybody can tell me that they would genuinely be bantering Liverpool, you know, like they believe it. They'd just be trying to wind us up. Everyone knows we're champions. So, there wouldn't be an asterisk for me. We're champions.
Listen, if it was me, if that was Tottenham and then they won the league that was given to, I would not accept it. I'll be like, no, asterisks against your name. You never completed the season.
Well, people tried to say like Liverpool didn't really win the Champions League in 2005 because we won on a penalty shootout. People will always find a way to just try and put you down.
No, this is different. This is different, man. Lots of teams win it on a penalty shootout. This is a bit different. I think, listen, I understand you, man. I hear your pain, right? Because, you know, I mean, it must be after all these time you've waited to win this and after what happened last year and now you're so far ahead. But the reality of it is, right, is that I just can't see if it's voided, because there has been suggestions that it'd be voided and just make Liverpool the champions. Apparently, a lot of other teams have agreed to that and say, you know what, void it, let Liverpool be champions, and just. But then I don't know how you can do that. How could you do that and then keep the rest, not send anybody down or not? You know what I mean, that's. It would be. I think
it's because us being champions is the only thing that's definitive in the season. Chelsea may have fallen out. Maybe Leicester may have fallen out. Man U may have caught up. You've even got Sheffield United and Wolves, who arguably you could say were fighting. Even Arsenal, I guess, to an extent. If you put an 8-game winning streak, who knows, innit? So there's a lot of like ifs and buts and maybes. But everyone knows Liverpool's champions. There's absolutely no way anything was going to happen except we're going to be champions. Even, I don't know, maybe say January, February, I was still kind of like, what if? But then once it got to the point where City lost that final game and we were like 25 points, I was like, this is done. Even I was like, this is done. We're so champions now. Even I can start thinking about it. So I think because the only definitive thing from the season is that we're going to be champions, you just give that because it's obvious. And then, I mean, I'm still think that's very unfair on Leeds. And is it Fulham who's the other team that are in the automatic? West Brom. Imagine how Leeds fans must feel right now, because they probably waited to come back to the Premier League almost as long as we've been waiting.
Got it.
Like, how long has it been since they've been out the 20 years, is it? Since they've been in the Premier League? Something crazy. Like,
nobody can do. You see what this guy is saying, Devon. Actually, I know Devon for real. Big up Devon for real on Facebook, on Twitter. Sorry, he's saying you can't void what's already happened. Just call it what it was. A season ended by a pandemic.
And that's what I'm saying. Just call it right now. At least all right, be honest, Rob. Yeah, I know Arsenal haven't had a great season. But if it was voided now, you'd have to just accept you weren't good this season, and that's why you're where you are.
Exactly.
Imagine if Arsenal was in the Champions League spot right now, and then it got voided, and you was back in the Europa League again. Imagine all that hard work Arteta had done, got you into top 4, and then they go, we're just going to scrap all this. Like, imagine if that happened. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
it would be a shame, but it is what it is. It's nobody's fault. I mean, Eric here says the Premier League bosses don't want to deal with the mess. If they hand the title to Liverpool, how fair is that on the other leagues? And that's true. If you hand the title to Liverpool, then what about, like you just said, what about Leeds, who've worked so hard?
I think Leeds should come up.
Come up for who?
No, do the 22 team. They add 2 teams to every league and then have a 5-team relegation
around so that Liverpool can win the league.
No, just so everybody's earned their right. Just like them, I don't know who's in the first division, but whoever was about to be promoted to the championship, that it's not fair on them either. Like, it's not fair on every single team.
It's not fair on anyone. It's not fair on anyone, Drifty.
Yeah, but there are teams that will get screwed a lot more. Like, I don't think. All right, let's go from Arsenal down to, I don't know, who's like 17th? West Ham. None of those teams are gonna care, because they'll be like, we weren't going to get a 9 out this season anyway. So, yeah, all right, void it. Do what you want to do. But everyone up from you, like I said, Wolves, Sheffield United, Leicester, all these teams who actually were in a position they may not be in ever again. Because let's face it, Arsenal won't be in this position again. You'll be good next season. You'll be way higher. So a team like Arsenal will be like, all right, who cares? We'll be way better next year. But a team like Sheffield United are like, we will never be this good again. We won't. This is the only chance we have. It's
a shame, Drifty. It's a shame. Listen, I personally, and I've said this a lot, I want the season to finish. I would love the season to be finished, right? But as the days go on, I keep wondering to myself, how are they going to finish it? You know what I mean? How are you going to finish this season unless you play games into, say, late August, September? I can't see how, unless a miracle cure comes up. But the way, even what we're seeing in China, it takes time. Even when they start lifting things, it's going to take a little time. You know, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, you've got somebody back in your ear. This is Stu. He says, yes, Drifty, 5-team relegation is the solution. But you're switching up things to suit you now.
But this has never happened before, so you've got to change the rules slightly. But you can't just void the whole season. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that don't make no sense. And obviously, I'm speaking from a Liverpool fan primarily, but I still feel, like I said, Leicester, Sheffield United, Wolves, teams who have done really well that may not get that opportunity again. Because if this gets voided, let's be honest, Arsenal and Man United will replace Leicester as the team who will be in the top 4. I know that Leicester can't get in there, but it'll be way harder for them next season, way harder for them, because Man U and Arsenal will be much improved. So it's not just about Liverpool.
All right, yeah, all right. You're just bringing those examples in. You're bringing those examples in to help you out. It's like when news channels declare the winner of an election before all the votes are in. Everyone knows Liverpool are champions. Give them the title. So he's back. What's your brother?
you know what's mad, man? Yeah? There's another option that they could do, because you were saying like, all right, what if it takes till like maybe October before we can like get this going again? That is a very long time, and it will probably mess things up because form and everything will be out the window. So it would be a bit weird. But remember, we got the World Cup that's going to be in the Christmas period, or early January, which is like really weird, and that's like just getting randomly thrown in anyway. So what they could do is they could just do a calendar year for the following season. So between now and December, whatever it takes, however long it takes to finish this season, do it. It's weird, I know, just do it. And then because the World Cup's going to be at Christmas time anyway, if they do a calendar to calendar season for the following year, the World Cup will be at the end of the season instead of in the middle. And then we kind of, even though there's a bit of football missed out here and there in between, it is what it is, isn't it? And then you kind of don't really have the World Cup even messing up in the middle of the season. How about that? How about we just do that? Finish the season whenever we can, do a calendar to calendar, and then at the end of that, there's a World Cup. It works out perfectly.
Just to suit you guys.
No, that will suit everybody. It will suit everybody. Do you know what I mean? But I'm all for just stopping the season now and just, you know what I mean? It is what it is. It'll feel a bit sour, but... No,
Shaquem says that the thing is people need to realize it's nothing personal. It's a pandemic. Emotions are high, but we can't give handouts.
It's easy to say that if you're not a Liverpool fan.
You don't want it this way, surely. You know what I mean? You don't want it this way. Lucky says it's getting worse every day. There's no way to finish the season.
I agree. I think that's why I said we should just leave it as it is. Don't try to finish it. Just call it now. Just call it what it is. And then, you know what I mean? We can just all get on with things.
Ashwin says, no matter what happens, Drifty wants a title. Just like a small boy asking for a chocolate.
Of course I do. And you know what? If they void this season and act like it never happened, I'm still saying Liverpool won the league. I don't care what no one says.
No, but then, come on, man. You can say you wouldn't have won it. You wouldn't have won
the league. Everyone can argue with me all they want. We won the league.
I wanted to speak to you though, because I really wanted to. I haven't spoken to you since all this has been going on. I said I have to speak to Drifty, right? Because I watch all your videos on Instagram, yeah, and your little dances you've been doing and all that. And I was like, I wonder how he's feeling now. And now I know he's getting to you. Michael says, how can you worry about a season that hasn't been started? I think it must have been finished. The priority should be, that hasn't been started. The priority should be to finish this season. Voiding the season has way more problems. And of course, one of those problems is that the clubs will have to pay back a lot of money, isn't it? If it's not completed. Morgan says, June to August and push the start of the season back. That's the best way. Zachariah says Liverpool are world champions, European champions, and Premier League champions in waiting. They ain't gone defeated though. Grow up. That's true. You didn't. What happened to that, by the way?
I didn't think it was gonna happen. It was just a nice little. No. I genuinely didn't think. I knew we were going to run out of steam and probably.
That's a hard record, man. I told you.
Yeah, and you know what? I knew it would be a team that we weren't supposed to lose to. I knew it wasn't going to be an Arsenal or a City or something like that. I knew it was going to be a Burnley or a Watford or one of these small teams where we were going to be tired, take our eye off the ball, and they were going to be like scrapping relegation or something crazy. Like, I knew that's what it was going to be.
That's exactly why you can't give you guys the league, because you never know. A couple of idiot teams might turn up that you think you turn over. You lose a few games, you start to panic. Anything can happen in football, you know.
It can, but
last season, how many points? At one time last season, you guys were 10, 15 points ahead of everybody else. And you didn't win the title, did you?
No, but City had a game in hand.
Anything can happen.
Okay. That was in December. That was in December, and they had a game in hand. That was a bit different. You know what I mean?
They were miles behind it. Everybody was engraving your name up on it, and you didn't.
No. We weren't miles ahead. I knew we weren't. It wasn't a guarantee. But another thing as well, you have to take the form of the other teams into consideration. Man City aren't in form, and they're the only team who can mathematically catch us. So they would have to win 10 games in a row, and we would have to lose 8 or 7 games out of our last 8 or 9. That, come on, bro, that ain't happening. It's a formality.
Abdi says the Bundesliga is being resumed in May behind closed doors, and the clubs have started training again, which is very true. But if you look at what's going on in Germany, the coronavirus, they seem to have it under control. I mean, it's nowhere near as bad as all the other countries in Europe. So, maybe that's why they're able to make those steps. Over here in the UK at the moment, we've got nearly 10,000 deaths. You know what I mean? And we're still not out of the woods yet. I mean, we're one of the worst countries in the world for the coronavirus right now. So, I don't think we can really look at what Germany are doing because they just haven't got it as bad as us. Pretty says, Robbie, what happens if it's voided and all of us get paid mad money that paid mad money for our season ticket? Do we get our outstanding money back? That's a great point. The next season payments have already started as a platinum member. Kiss my teeth. And that's true. You know what I mean? What happens to that? People are gonna want their money back. Let me touch on another thing as well with Liverpool. I mean, I think Liverpool, everybody's been, even the biggest hater of Liverpool been saying, you know what, they deserve to win the title. Liverpool have been the outstanding team and stuff like that. Don't you think your owners let you down badly with that thing where they wanted to furlough big Liverpool? Yeah. The amount of money you guys have been making, you won all those cups, you won the Champions League, you've made loads of revenue. To want to furlough your staff, I mean, what were they thinking of? That, in the famous words of John Henry, what were they smoking over there?
All right, you know what? I'm in the camp where we shouldn't have done it. I'm in that camp. But as always, when any kind of controversy comes towards my club, I try to look at both angles to see if there's any kind of, any way to understand what's happened or what it is. Now, the one thing that I do feel that the club had a little bit of a point to, but again, it doesn't look good, but Arsenal are probably one of the main clubs that do this. The amount of money that Premier League clubs pump into the economy is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
True.
Think about how much money Arsenal pay in taxes for being a club in London. It is ridiculous, yeah? All that money helps to fund the government, right? Now, I can slightly get where football clubs are coming from, where they go, all right, well, we paid all this money. Let's let the government pay some staff for a little while, because technically us who paid it, because we put all this money into the economy. So there's a little part of me that does kind of slightly see from a business point of view where that's coming from, because what people need to realize is sometimes you have to take your emotions out of it and understand that as a business.
The furlough thing was for the people that are suffering. I mean, those companies basically bought in to keep companies alive that, obviously going to be suffering badly. Liverpool are going to be suffering, but they're not going to be one of those clubs that are on their knees, are they?
No, of course, and that's why I'm saying.
Why are they applying for that? Yes, you're right. Premier League teams, pay lots and lots of taxes, and the government benefits massively from football, massively, and all the other industries that surround it, all of them pumping lots of money into the government. But that fund is for people that are suffering, right? And whilst Liverpool will be suffering, it not like the come on, you can't. I mean, this guy Eric says Drifty is it's actually taxpayers' money that is used. So and you're right, but Drifty, I get what you're saying. I mean, Liverpool are paying their taxes and paying a lot of taxes, but come on.
No, but that's what I mean. I'm in the camp of they shouldn't have done it, but I'm just saying you do have to have a little bit of consideration for what any club's trying to do as a business. That's all I'm saying. The one thing that annoyed me about FSG doing it is we've always kind of, as Liverpool fans, had to almost defend them, even to ourselves. Like, I argue with myself sometimes. Are they good owners or are they not good owners? And I look at situations where we were in a lot of trouble when they took over. A lot of people who aren't Liverpool fans won't realise I was watching Sky Sports News and I was watching a countdown for administration. Now, everyone's saying, somebody was bound to buy you out. Yeah, but it was them, innit? And I remember thinking, are we going into administration? Big boy Liverpool. They bailed us out and they took us from being in debt. We're nearly worth 2 billion. Now, you can't ever argue that's an unbelievable job they've done. When it comes to business, they are phenomenal. But then you've also got the we won't buy players unless we sell players. And the Alisson and Van Dijk thing, we got a bit caught up in it, but we did get rid of Coutinho for that. And we haven't really done any big signings outside of those two. So it's a bit like, FSG, man, did you just have to prove that you're tight? That's more what annoyed me about it. Like, you just proved how tight you are. Like, imagine if Arsenal would have done it. It would have been similar because obviously Kroenke's just like us, where you guys feel like he's got all this money and he never does anything. It would be like, typical. I could have predicted that. Do you know what I mean? I could have predicted that. You're a tight ass, so you're going to go and do the tightest thing possible. And I'm actually kind of shocked that you didn't, because your owner is a money saver. So,
listen, man, we got class, mate. You know what I mean? We didn't do the furlough thing. You know what I mean? We left that to Tottenham. They're the other. You know what I mean? Right. Here's a comment here from C. says, who's better, the Invincibles or this season's Liverpool?
Depends which way you want to look at it. I know every Arsenal fan will say it's Arsenal for being invincible, but
no, not every Arsenal fan. Fans will say.
All right, fair enough, but
you ain't even won the league yet. What are you talking about? How you're gonna? You know what I mean? Right, one team won the league. Let's get that right first of all.
That question is a bit difficult to answer because the season has been interrupted. But let's say hypothetically, Liverpool lost. Let's say we drew with Arsenal at the Emirates. We lost to City at the Etihad, but we won the other games. So that's 7 more games that we would have won on top of what we got now. That would have been, 21 points. You add that onto what we got now. We would have ended up, like 98 points or 97 points or something like that. If you win the league with 98 points and you only lost 2 games, even though the invincible thing sounds great, I feel like the higher points total with more wins means you are a more superior side. And I said, I know Arsenal fans aren't going to agree with me, but that would have meant that we won
season without losing a game. You lot were chasing it this season hard. I
genuinely don't believe that we was bothered until it got to the end of the season.
Once you started, it started to look like you're going to win the league. Then you started chasing 2 things. You were going after that 49, right, undefeated, right, and you were going after the season unbeaten. You can't tell me that your players, when they meet up, they're going to say it in public because you'll get mugged off if you don't do it. Which, by the way, Wenger did actually say that season that they do it as well, right at the start of the season. But you ain't gonna say it in public. But secretly, they must have been going, yeah, man, I reckon we'll do this. They'd be there working out the teams they got left. They'd be like, yeah, man, we've already played United, we played City. Yeah, you know what, boy, the only other teams we got left really here, we got Everton, we got Arsenal. Get past them, man. Boy, that's ours. Then Watford came.
We had to go Etihad. Watford came along. We still had to go to the Etihad.
Definitely Invincibles. What I'm not just saying as an Arsenal fan here. Invincibles is much harder because Invincibles, that's not been done since. And look at the good teams that have been there. No one's done it. It's so hard thing to do.
If you want to argue that, I won't act like you don't have an argument, or I won't say, are you talking rubbish? Being undefeated is amazing. Of course it is. There's no denying it. I'm not going to lie. But from a personal point of view, I feel like the higher points tally just means you were more superior. And again, this is no disrespect. Arsenal drew 12 games in that season. So you were undefeated, but 12 draws is a lot. If we'd have won the season based on the form and only dropped 4 or 5 more points, we would have got over 100 points and we would have won like 35 games. That's unbelievable. Like, there's no way anybody can turn around and say you've won 35 out of 38 games and it isn't better just because you lost 1. Like, for me, I think the higher points tally, that's why I think Man City have the best achievement out of everyone because they broke 100 points. No one's ever done that before.
Invincibles. No one's ever done that. Gone the whole
but
season.
bro, you could be invincible and draw 38 games.
So why didn't you draw against Watford then?
Because shit happens, isn't it?
It's not easy. Why didn't you draw against Watford?
We were tired.
Football HQ, who obviously a Liverpool fan, I can tell by avatar, says we're still 25 points clear. We've got this guy here. This is Marco. He says all the top clubs have had their worst season except Liverpool. Do you think Liverpool are that good then?
That's slightly hating because there's been loads of seasons where teams ain't really like do you remember when Chelsea won it under Conte? I think everyone was kind of poor that season, but no one said, Chelsea, you know what I mean? When Leicester won it, let's be real, it was an unbelievable achievement from them, but everyone else was poor that season. So
but but hold on, that guy's got a point in it. We've been rubbish. Man United have been rubbish. City have been rubbish. Who else would it? Chelsea have been rubbish. All of those teams that would normally be up there taking points off of each other, we've been very, very poor. So that has made it a lot easier. Because I've heard a lot of Liverpool fans say that you actually played better you played better last year.
It's questionable. What I think we did this season was we learned how to deal with a little bit more of the pressure mentally. Because last season, there was a few games we drew that we shouldn't have. Because remember, we only lost one game last season as well. But there was the Leicester game, there was the West Ham game, and the Everton game, and the Man U game. Those are the 4 draws that we just shouldn't have drawn those games. And I think we're a bit mentally tired. Remember, we're going for the Champions League, as we were this season. Obviously, we went out this season. But up to that point, we'd been to Dubai. We'd won the World Club Champions. You know what I mean? We're world champions. We've had a lot. We've been in the Super Cup. Like, we've had a lot. So I feel like it was a mental tiredness that ended up getting us the loss in the end. But the mental strength up to that point, we just seemed to believe in ourselves more this season than we did last season. But arguably, you could say the best season we played is the season we lost the Champions League final. That football was probably better than these 2 seasons in terms of attractiveness and how it looks on the eye and entertainment. But that season we were shipping a lot of goals until we got Van Dijk. And, you know what I mean? There was some, silly games that we should have never messed up in. So it depends which way you look on it, to be honest with you. But I definitely feel like we've been almost perfect. And I feel like that's the reason why it's a bit unfair to say, we're only top because everyone else has been crap. We've destroyed everything in our way in Europe, whatever. And yeah, I think we're here because of how great we are, not just because everyone else has been poor.
Okay. Jad says, Drifty, who had the better season, Salah or Aubameyang?
Aubameyang's got more goals. Aubameyang scored more. He's been your most important player, in my opinion, from what I've seen. It's hard to say, though, because Salah's been important for us, and I don't think he's that far behind on the scoring chart, and he's in a team that's been dominating. So it's hard to say. I think if you take Aubameyang out of Arsenal, you'll struggle more than if you take Salah out of Liverpool. I think that's goes without question.
But you got a better team. I mean, so
to say he's had the better season is a bit more difficult. I'm not really sure because Salah's been unbelievable this season. Yeah, he has had some dodgy moments, but he's also had some unbelievable moments. So I think that's quite a tough one to answer, to be honest.
Okay, Niall says they've been very lucky with injuries compared to the other top teams. Liverpool he's talking about, obviously.
No, we haven't, We haven't. We've had our best holding man miss 2 months. Matic was in the form of his life. He's missed half the season. Our goalkeeper has had 2 very bad injury spells and missed very crucial games. What they're basically saying is Mane and Salah never got injured.
Van Dijk.
Yeah, Mane, Salah, and Van Dijk. Those 3 haven't been injured.
Them, man, if they get injured, you've been very lucky. None of them, man.
And you know what? That's why we lost the Watford game. Our captain got injured, and our captain's been the driving force.
Yeah, you rate him now.
I've always rated Henderson. I'm one of the only people who does. No, honestly, I'm one of the only people who does. I've always rated.
Actually, let me just read this one. It says best wishes. Adjuman says best wishes from St. Louis, in the USA. Stay safe. Best wishes to you guys as well. Henderson, should he get Player of the Year? There's a lot of talk saying he should get Player of the Year.
Yeah, we spoke about this on our channel. I feel like if my head was making a decision, it would be Mane. He's been sensational this season. I actually think he should be in the Ballon d'Or running. But my heart would give it to Henderson because he deserves it based on all the stick that he gets, all the people who come down on him.
Can't just get him because of stick.
No, not just that. He's been unbelievable for us this season, Rob. He's played like 3 or 4 different positions. He played centre-back in the World Club Championships. He had to fill in it, defensive midfield. He's been everywhere. And leadership is underrated. Because if you look at a lot of the teams who are struggling, it's poor leadership.
True. Hyder says Henderson should win the PFA Player of the Year. Omar says Mane is the best Liverpool player at the moment. Sune says Henderson is just average.
Shout out to the haters, man.
That's a bit harsh, isn't it? That's a guy's opinion, right? It's got this one here. He said Liverpool would have won the league if we didn't have the winter break. That's true. That's true.
Imagine the irony that we get a winter break for the first time ever and we didn't even need it. Flipping out. I know.
Twisted says Henderson ain't a baller. Whereas Christopher, this shows how he divides opinion. Christopher says he should be the England captain.
100% over Kane. 100%. 100%.
And then here, Donald says Mane is a diving cheat.
Let the haters hate, man.
He does go that easy, though, don't he? Come on now. He does go down. I like Mane as a player, but it doesn't seem to take a lot for him to go stumbling over, does it?
He did that one time against Leicester.
More than once, man, I've seen that guy go down.
Nah, not really. No, he gets kicked a lot, you know.
Eric says, do you think VAR has had a role to play in some of Liverpool's results? Some truly shocking decisions in other teams' games, which has had an impact. And, you know, people have been calling it Liverpool. I'm not sure you've heard that. Have you benefited a lot from that VAR?
No, it's just decisions that they could rob us with before. Now they can't anymore. That's all it is. It's just fair. Like now, the only game where it was a little bit controversial was when we got the winning penalty against Leicester. Other than that, they've all been correct decisions. So I don't get why people are saying it's only because of VAR. If it's a foul, it's a foul. If it's offside, it's offside. Do you know how many goals we've had taken off of us and VAR didn't do anything? So, you know what I mean? Again, it's just everyone wants to find a reason to bring us down. And VAR is the easiest one, isn't it? So,
Hayder says, I recommend watching Mane's documentary. He's a very humble man. I haven't seen it yet. You seen it?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, people have been telling me
he gives so much money back to his hometown. It's unbelievable. He doesn't act rich at all. He doesn't. He's just like a normal guy, goes home, walks the streets, sees everybody, makes sure everyone's okay. He's a really good guy, man.
Amre says, Drifty, I've been following Minamino in RB Salzburg. What do you think of him? Of course, you signed him. What do you think about Minamino that he signed?
I think he's a great footballer. But like most players that come into Liverpool team, they need a little bit of an adjustment period. And I think next season is when we'll see the best of him. It was a bit hard to ask him to come in halfway and then just make an impact straight away. Do you know what I mean? He has been kind of poor in the games he's played in. Really weirdly, Klopp's played him out of position, which I don't get why. He's played him up front. I don't even understand that. But I guess he's just trying to get him used to being in the team. But I think ability-wise, yeah, he's a quality player. He reminds me of Kagawa. I don't know if you remember who he
I remember Kagawa,
who Klopp had at Dortmund. He went Man United. Very, very good player. Technically very good. He did. But I feel like that was, again, just an adjustment period, I guess. Do you know what I mean? I think Moyes kind of came in and got rid of him. When if Fergie was there, we probably would have seen Kagawa play well at Man U. So personally, I think next season will be, whenever next season is, will be when we see the best of Minamino at Liverpool. Yeah.
Okay, this is going to be the last one. We got so many have come in, and thank you very much for all the questions that are coming. This is Seamus Moore. He says, give the Premier League trophy to the NHS workers. Fair, I think, and I'm a Liverpool fan. NHS workers deserve it more. I mean, the NHS workers are doing a fantastic job. Who knows what's going to happen with this? We don't know whether Liverpool, if I'm being honest, Liverpool do deserve to win the title. But if the season's not finished...
All right, but on that, Rob, let me ask you this, because I've asked this to a few people.
You can't just give somebody something.
But I've asked a few people who said that the season to be void this question. What happens to all the transfers that were made in this season? Do they have to be given back? Because if the season's voided, then nobody should be allowed any of the transfers they made.
Come on, Drifty, man. You just basically
we're acting like the season never happened, right?
Listen, what it is, you say if it's impossible to finish the season, unfortunately, it just goes down in history of unfortunately, we were unable to finish this season because of this pandemic that stopped everybody from playing sport around the world. And unfortunately, the season ended as this, and we just had to void everything and start again next season.
But if you're voiding, I think transfers should be void as well if you're voiding, in my opinion.
No, but you wouldn't have to void transfers. Because those players have already been playing, they've got contracts and stuff like that. That's different. But at the end of the day, a football season, if it's not finished, you can't just be handing out things to people and saying, here, you hold the title. Yeah, you guys, you play well, you can go into the top. Because to me, those other three teams below you, they can't go into the top four. Anything could have happened. None of them were secure in that position.
It is what it is, though.
Bottom, you can't send them down because they could have got out of it. So it's unfair. It's only, you're trying to work it only in your favour. And I understand it because you're so far ahead. But you're trying to work it only in your favour. But if you look at the league as a whole, you just have to say, if we can't complete it,
no, I disagree, but
let us know what you guys think in the comments, right? Just keep those comments coming in. Drifty, thank you very much for coming on today. Really, really appreciate it, mate. And stay safe. Listen, we still got our game to play. Isn't you're still supposed to come to the Emirates, you know what I mean? So, let's hope that game can still be played and we can actually be there and have a drink after the game.
Yeah, man.
They'll probably be social distancing. Thanks a lot, Drifty. And thanks to everybody for watching the show today. Don't forget to be back in the morning with the early edition. Also, tomorrow, the All Guns Blazing podcast will be out. Some great content to come for you over this Easter weekend. So if you're looking for stuff to do, don't go outside. Just keep it locked here on AFTV. Thanks, and we'll be back tomorrow.